You literally had to put 2 lines of code.
I did not.
My man.
I
What do you mean,
It's
man? Two
organized
lines of
now.
code is 2 years of work. What are you talking about?
You
Okay,
shut
Smartest
up.
we're
You
circuit.
loading back.
literally
Everyone
do
shut
not
up.
know
We're gonna play the
anything.
video game.
Smartest circuit.
Literally do not know anything.
I can't believe you're playing video games on the internet.
No
Unbelievable.
way.
Smartest
No
circuit
way.
engineer.
Smartest trick. That is true.
Who is
Okay,
this?
now
Whose turn is this?
bring up the notes. We have to tell Edge about the game.
Exactly.
Okay, wait. Okay, let me think back. Who is next, actually?
Yeah, okay, so here you can see our notes.
Among Us. Katy Perry. I need men. I need men who are the hardest of the hard, and I need to be with these men. And then there's this.
Egg equals cold. If egg does not equal cold, will egg equals hatching? Question mark? Quack quack? Question mark? Among Us?
And this will
now,
be Quasso.
now you got the game, right?
It's
Kinda.
fine.
Yeah,
He'll
okay, that's
understand.
fine. Okay, very simple.
Whose turn is this?
There's. Hold on. We still. Are you? Okay, I'm gonna be calm.
Okay.
Are you like
I'm sorry.
stupid or
There is
something?
there is 8 people in a very small town. We're currently in a building owned by a family called the Ashia family, which are a rich group of individuals. They were making an exhibition today, and they plan to show off a very rare gem called the Sekimeiya. We
Who's
were
a
the first.
an egg?
Alright.
We were the first to go ahead and observe it, but the moment we were going to see it, smoke like clouded in the entire room.
Okay, go on.
Everybody got knocked out,
Mm-hmm.
and every single person in this building left the building except the 8 people currently here. Uh, most of us, except the security guard named Kate, were knocked out by the smoke. We're currently locked in due to an alarm system that was recently implemented, and we cannot leave for the next 12 hours. We're currently 7 people. The 8th person was
It's a woman.
the tour guide. The tour guide.
Yeah, the tall guy, the one that's supposed to represent
Yeah.
represent towards the Sekimeiya.
And she's currently missing. We have no idea what she is. And that's about the basic story.
Yeah. We
The
just decided to
only
try to
addition-
contact the outside, I guess.
Yeah, the only additional thing that's happened recently was apparently this whole thing was staged by the Ashia family because they want to catch a group of thieves called Zin. This Zin people have never been caught before. We don't know if they're multiple. We don't know if they're singular, but they're a group of thieves apparently who are just really, really good. This whole exhibition was to test out this new alarm, not test out, but like to capture these Zin members. The Sekimeiya we saw was apparently fake. It, I guess, doesn't really hold any value. And yeah, that's it. That's basically it.
So,
The-
you'll understand even if you didn't quite get it.
Yeah.
It's like your case when you were playing Greatest Attorney anyway, so let's just continue.
Yeah, we'll
Mhm.
just laugh away. Anyway, whose turn is it now?
I have no idea.
Zen.
You go.
Me?
You go first,
Yes,
yeah.
it's Zen's
I
turn.
hate you.
Okay.
I checked.
Everybody started to look a bit more tense in the hallway. Maybe because we hadn't yet seen anything beyond the first floor, or maybe because the reality of being trapped in was creeping in. I looked at the cameras and noticed that a tiny green recording light could only be noticed on some of them, as the dried smoke fully covered a good number. We walked together a few steps until we all stopped silently. Our task was to investigate a huge building we had never entered before, only to track down someone who could have been hiding with malicious intent.
Task? This is just like Among Us.
Yeah. Isla started talking casually to Erina about their daily life. I didn't disturb them, figuring it was better if Isla remained as calm as possible. Context clues: Isla is the small kid, Erina is her mother.
Yeah,
I
it's gonna
leaned
be
against the
helpful.
wall. Yeah, I leaned against the wall next to Shiroya. I didn't think she wanted to talk, so I kept quiet. Shiroya is the blue-haired girl, which is your best friend, basically.
She's also
Nice.
Zenchi, or Zenchi's also her.
Okay.
The handrail made the position uncomfortable, but I tried not to mind it. Instead, I focused on thinking. What exactly had happened in the security room? What had Sai done?
What have I done?
Sai is the
What
guy
have
on the
you
left.
done?
I looked
Oh,
at
she
him.
has a new sprite.
Yeah, rare sprite change for all characters so far. I
No,
looked
that's the
at him.
wrong button. Oh, there you go.
You are so dumb. I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
I looked at him. He wore a silent, carefree expression, appearing almost on a different plane from the rest of us. Not me.
This should be
Uh,
Inferno again, right?
Yeah, this.
Okay, what's the order?
Oh,
What's the order?
okay,
Okay, so
so
we made Zen
normally,
go first, so it's like Zen, Inferno, you and me, I guess.
Yes, that's the order we have.
Okay, sure.
well, technically, I started being the narrator, so it should be me, Seven, Zenchi, and then Edge.
Well, I don't
Okay,
care,
then
so fuck you. Okay,
is it me
then we
then?
can make
Is it me
we can make Edge read this time then. Okay, let's make Edge
Yes.
read it.
Okay. Earlier, when I looked at him after Kate, sorry, rushed out of the room, he
Katy
took
Perry.
Yeah, we call him Katy Perry.
Because it's funny.
Katy Perry. Okay. When Katy Perry rushed out of the room, she took took his hand out from behind, left most monitor.
Katie was the security guard that was in on the whole thing.
Mhm.
Okay. Thank
He
you.
also loves
What
playing
if-
Sonic Adventure. Very important.
Yeah, that is true.
Okay, nice. Kinda cringe. You should play Mania. Anyhow, what exactly did I see? Let me take a different approach. Assuming the monitor powering was off was his doing, what could the reason be? What did he do right after the monitor stopped working? He tried to see what happened, but if he had been one to cause it, that couldn't have been his goal.
Basically, what happened very recently was we were talking with a policeman outside that basically told us everything that I just told you about Zen and stuff. But suddenly, the computer that we were talking to him through died. Sai at the time gave us a smirk, so we're assuming he's culpable of it. He took us down somewhere and then he said some lines, and then we come back and then he did something, and then the computer was fixed, and that's it. But now we don't have any access, so we can't contact the outside world anymore.
Inferno, I will kill you.
Someone was talking. It's not rude to
No,
interrupt.
I just want to kill you. It's nothing to do with your performance. I just
Is
want to kill
it
you.
Okay.
is it my turn or is it his
No,
turn?
no.
No, it's
One
fine.
second for that.
Per
Okay.
page.
Yeah, per page.
One second, meeting. After considering
you,
a couple
Inferno.
After considering a couple possibilities, an idea came to me. If I was right, what he told me later made sense. Seven, this is you.
I guess this is me, yeah. I guarantee you that everything he has said has been a lie. Don't trust any of his words.
At that point, with what he did to the monitor, he was probably confirming his suspicion. He was right. A lot of the things Kati has been saying have been questionable at best, but now that I think about it, there was one major thing that I overlooked. Kati grabbed the doorknob and upon turning it, he tried.
I think this is me.
Oh.
I don't know. Yeah, it's in a quotation mark, so we can tell that way. Great.
Alright.
Kate grabbed the doorknob, and upon turning it, he tried to push the door forward. However, it didn't budge.
Alright, I locked it earlier. Let me see. I bet Sai knows this. Kati didn't think the door would be locked.
I thought this was a new page. I thought this was 7.
Oh. Oh, right, this is 7. Alzheimer.
Alzheimer, or Joe Biden. Joe Biden. I bet Sai noticed this. Kate didn't think the door would be locked. He was quick to make up a lie. He said that since it's an important room, he thought it's appropriate to lock it before going outside to inspect things. He even claimed to have done it because the room contained a single way to communicate with the outside, when later, he showed us that you can only enable it with a password that only the security staff knew. I think
Probably
this is Zen,
This
yeah.
is me. It's probably not that he thought the door would be open, but that he didn't realize it wouldn't be. After all, we know what actually locked it. The alarm.
Suripo.
Suripo is the police cop outside, right?
Okay.
Suripo explained to us the entire function and mechanism behind the alarm. The person inside the security room would relay information between the people that got trapped and the outside. The door of the security room would be closed alongside the exit, and it would be impossible to open it with anything but the right key. Now,
Meaning that if I'm right, from the time I heard the alarm to the time we entered the security room, no one was inside
one
it.
moment. Okay.
In other words, Katie had never been inside the security room. Must have been a huge lie, and most likely something Sai assumed after noticing Katie's actions before he opened the door, or when the alarm's functions were explained. A lot of things Katie has said involved him being inside the security room during the time the smoke was released. Seeing the smoke appearing out of nowhere through these cameras, looking at the available ones and not seeing anyone, not having tried to contact the outside, not being allowed to input his command to open up the exit. All those claims are impossible if I assume he was never in the security room during that period of time. Even seeing the smoke through the cameras and then exiting the room before the alarm went off would be far from believable. This would have both stained his clothes and knocked him out.
Oh hell no, I'm being a sussy baka.
Yeah, you are quite sussy.
Read
I
it,
should-
Inferno,
I should-
read!
That's what I was trying to do, you dumb fuck. I'm gonna kill you. I should question something important if he truly was never in the room. Kate's clothes weren't stained. However, he knew about the smoke. Did Erebus Group tell him and he acted as if he'd seen it through the cameras? Did he see it from far away? Or did he have another way to know about it without having personally seen it? To maintain his claim of having seen the smoke appearing through the cameras, it's possible he knew it would appear and quickly left the security room with the mask and spare clothes right before the alarm sounded. Like this, he would have been able to lie about having been in the security room the whole time. After all, it would have been too risky for him to leave before the smoke was released. If this is what he did, he must have used the time we were unconscious to do something. What's for certain is that aside from having seen the smoke through the cameras, if he wasn't in the room by the time the alarm went off, all his other claims became impossible. But he also might have been on this. He also might not have been on this floor during the attack. If he showed up later, that could have been why he found Elena's group before ours. They told him what had happened, and he made up a lie accordingly. This would mean that everything he told to us has been a fabrication. So,
Yeah,
Seven.
it's me. Once I assume that
Alzheimer's.
Shut up. Once I assume that Kete is never in the room, the exact reason for that lie is not too important. What it means is that he's untrustworthy and that he has an ulterior motive. And it is very possible his authority as a security member has been revoked. The timing was too precise to have been a coincidence. It could be that Ashi and the police figured out something about him and removed his privilege as a security member. However, they know that doing so would also prevent us from contacting him again, so they must have had a very good reason.
Then, what Sai did to confirm his theory, he pulled it off shamelessly in front of everybody. I'm sure he could have done it later alone, but it's possible he feared Kate would have prevented it with a new law. Right before Sai started, he asked Surupa, "Is there anything else you should tell us?" He wanted to check something as soon as possible before Kate could interfere again. Once Surupa said he's told us everything we need to know, Sai unplugged the cord between the leftmost monitor and the one he was next to. This was only done to have a justification for checking the stream settings. He quickly grabbed the mouse and opened them from the desktop.
Who is this guy?
This is Sai.
This is me.
Fine.
I see. How strange. The left monitor isn't being detected at all.
However, that's not what Sai was actually looking at. When we all went to the security room, Kate quickly went to use the computer.
This is 7.
I think this is me. Wait, hold on. Is
No.
this me?
No, I think this is just narration.
No,
Nah,
this is
There's a quotation mark.
This is narration.
This is
Okay.
narration.
Narration from the past.
Yeah,
Okay,
this
sure.
is me. Paying no mind to everyone else's silence, Kyle made his way to the chair and sat down. When he moved the mouse, the computer exited its suspended state and reactivated the three monitors above it, showing us what the last person to use it had been doing. A bit Sai's goal was actually to look at how long it'd take for the computer to enter the suspended state, which is information found on the same setting screen. That's because Kate said he'd used it while he'd been. Can you actually find it though?
I don't know. This is.
We'll have to take a look. We gotta verify this.
It's 7. Go. This
Shortly
is
after
also
that,
narration.
yeah. Shortly after that, the alarm went off, so I knew I was already trapped. During that time until I exited, I stayed looking at the cameras. I also
No, this is
tried.
Kate. This is
No,
Kate.
this is Kate.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
bad.
I'm retarded.
Charlie, you Alzheimer.
Alzheimer. I fell for his Alzheimer's and contracted it.
Shortly after that, the alarm went off, so I knew I was already trapped. During that time until I exited, I still looking at the cameras. I also tried to use the computer to look up information about what had happened, but the alarm even shut down my internet connection.
It's weird.
What?
I just checked the stream thing. Inferno, can you say something?
Yes?
Okay, it's fine. I don't know. For some
You
reason, when Inferno spoke, my character also popped up for a second here. I thought, did I mix up the user IDs or something for Discord? Whatever, it's fine.
you are such an idiot.
Agreed.
Very true. He also said that he tried to input the command to unlock the exit. We know that the alarm went off at approximately 9:05. Thanks to the time the computer displayed, and it had been suspended when we entered the room. If, for example, the screen settings show that an hour of an activity had been needed to enter that state, Sai could have confirmed that Kate had not been there at all. Oh, so he just checked, oh, what is the suspend mode time? That's okay, that makes sense actually. And apparently it did confirm it. That's why he was sure that Kate had been lying. This also explains his subsequent action. When I saw Sai taking out his arm from behind the leftmost monitor, he just plugged the cord back in. Despite sounding risky, he'd had nothing to lose, and if waited longer, Kate could have prevented it. And Sai's timing had been great. Right after that, all the machines had stopped working. That had probably not been his doing, even though Kate had implied otherwise.
I have no idea what this is.
This is probably Sai.
Is this Sai?
However, it wasn't all instant, was it? This monitor was the first one to stop functioning.
He said it as if both things had been connected, but I don't think that was right. Sai unplugged the first monitor, but the rest must have had a different cause. One thing is for sure. Sai has confirmed his theory and is now certain that Kate has fed us a lie after a lie. And I should probably think the same. Is this it then? Do I have to admit that Kate is a blatant liar with an ulterior motive?
I thought everything that had happened up until then, I surely noticed another inconsistency. Kate had presented very early on that one had later been contradicted by himself.
You know, you alarm that played throughout the building? After I heard it, I saw the smoke. He claimed to have heard the alarm, then see the smoke. However, just after that, he said the smoke had disabled his cameras instantly. Even the alarm went off some seconds after the smoke was released, he could only have seen the smoke after killing the alarm if he had been outside the security room. It's a bit strange that he said that, but still was correct in saying that the smoke had disabled the cameras. If he planned his phrasing well enough to make it sound like he's been inside the room to the point of realizing that the cameras will have become useless, it follows he wouldn't have mentioned the huge inconsistency of having seen the smoke after hearing the alarm. If there's a reason for this, it must be that without looking at the monitors, he knew the smoke would have left him useless. However, he must have not have thought about it too hard, or else he would have never contradicted himself so blatantly. There's one simple way this could have happened. If he designed the plan, he would have known the effects of the smoke, but not have thought of what they would have entailed if he truly been secure.
I didn't want to believe that. Not because I trusted a stranger by default, but because I wasn't sure if I was only deluding myself by believing it. I went back to my previous thought. Could Kate have still been inside that security room until he'd left it before the alarm had played? That would have made him a bit more trustworthy, even if it wasn't much. The problem
Hey,
was,
Seven.
once again, his unstained clothes. Even if he had changed clothes, his face and hair would have still noticeably been stained.
Good night, Rexy.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Big
Oh yeah,
chungus.
Seven. Oh yeah, Seven. Can you check something for me?
Okay, what is it?
Open up the menu in settings.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? I thought we get. Why don't we get colored text within the flashbacks either?
Because
That's
they didn't
so
want to
strange.
bother because they're cringe like that.
So true.
I'm gonna kill
So is
myself
this
now.
how the whole visual novel will play?
Not
Yeah,
really.
we tried.
Sometimes.
Oh,
There is actual dialogue occasionally.
occasionally.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it'll get good in a bit.
this is like the main character realization. Normally they just keep talking.
Internal monologue, okay.
Yeah.
It's just that the monologues take long, like really long, like this.
Yeah, I thought this was
Bro,
gonna be the entire playthrough.
No, it's
No.
not.
bro, really think he's.
That would be so boring. Technically, there was a way to get around that. I knew hallway
Both.
B had been hit by the smoke by the point I'd noticed the lack of light under the door. However, I couldn't be sure the same thing could be said of the hallway A. The third and the last section that had been inundated, we'd only seen it filled with smoke after waking up. Even though, realistically, if he left because he saw the smoke through the cameras, he would have mentioned that a hallway A hadn't been yet stained by that point. The only confirmed fact is that he wasn't in the room from the time the alarm went off to the point we entered it.
Seven.
Oh, my bad. That's your turn.
The only
Seven.
confirmed fact is that he wasn't in the room from the time the alarm went off to the point we entered it. It could be that he saw the smoke escape on the cameras, left the room, and then the alarm locked it. If this happened, the smoke in hallway A must have been released afterward. Finally, if I'm only pointlessly trying to reduce the number of lies Kathy had been spitting, it could be that he was in the room but never touched the computer. Then the suspended timer
Oh, no, I
would
accidentally clicked. One moment, please. F2? No, it was not F2.
You are so dumb.
Search. Okay, there we go.
this done, the suspended timer wouldn't mean anything, but lying about it, having used it, seems pointless.
Is there a way to go against size from theory?
We don't know.
I suppose only one.
Oh, I thought he just. Oh my god, I'm so dumb.
If the computer's current time is incorrect, the time shown on the screen setting could be rebutted. Considering that when we talked to Suripo, at no point was the actual time mentioned. If, when we checked the time, it wasn't exactly 9:41, it could all hold up. If the computer was an hour behind and the real time was at 10:45 or quarter to 10:11, we could have been unconscious for longer than we thought, and everything could fit. Kate would have been in the security room, and enough time for the suspended state to be reached could have passed. Reached could have passed. However, this single last possibility was denied by the only person who didn't fall unconscious, Kate himself.
Kate?
Yeah.
Yes, I think so. Yes, this matches with the amount of time I stayed here after I saw the smoke.
Whose turn
That's
is
a.
this?
That was a. This is yours because that was a page.
Yeah, that was a page. This
Yeah.
is Seven's.
It seemed
Get cocked.
skill as shit. Fucking inferno. It seemed it was unquestionable, for one reason or another, Kate had lied about what he'd been doing during the incident. He hadn't been where he should have been, and he had continuously claimed to do things that would have been impossible. Before we'd all entered the security room, he hadn't been fast enough to think that the alarm would have locked the door. He had simply tried to open it manually, and he hadn't locked it himself. What is Kate after? Why did he lie so much? After all, he was the one who told us about the way to communicate with the outside. All of his actions have been strange.
Hang on. I haven't considered this, but what if he isn't who he claimed to be? Could it be that he isn't actually a part of the security staff? He refused to explain anything because it would have been confidential, but then Suripo didn't have an issue doing so. What if he simply didn't know anything? The only thing he said was that we'd be locked inside the building for 12 hours and that he knew of a way to communicate with the outside. His clothes weren't stained, but he knew about the smoke. He had a safe. Hold on. I couldn't sneeze. He had a safe place he should have stayed in, but he wasn't in it. He had the security room key, but he didn't think the door would be locked. He had investigated this floor, but hadn't looked in the event room.
Saucy, saucy.
If this was all his plan, it could have been that he borrowed the name of Kate, an actual security staff member. Not only his name, but also his clothes and room. Then the clothes that Kate we know had been wearing, stained by the smoke, would have been disposed of.
That's the theory we had.
Suripo admitted that a security staff member hadn't evacuated the tower and he was familiar with the name Kadekuchi. But this could simply mean that the real Kadekuchi is still trapped with us. Maybe his body was hidden in a spot out of camera reach. Suripo talked to Kare, but he was a simple police officer and had no way to confirm that the voice belonged to the actual staff member. On top of that, he never actually saw it. Bro, this guy internal monologues a lot.
Yeah, he's. I mean, to be fair, this is the first theory that the main character has ever had so far.
Yeah.
Yeah. Since I couldn't arrive at a conclusion, I lowered my head after having been lost in thought for a while. Choria was standing near me, looking almost as detached as I was sure I did.
This is you.
Me?
Edge.
7.
Yeah.
Edge.
Edge took over
Edge.
now.
Shiroya?
Hmm?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I am.
I rubbed down my face with. Sorry.
Yeah, well, this is the narrator. I rubbed my face with one hand and pulled her aside, speaking in a hushed tone. Then that's kind of sus. What?
Kinda
I pulled her with one hand?
Shiroya, it's fine. We're fine. Nami's fine too. You could have just said we're all fine. You can't let this stuff get to you.
I'm not.
Don't get sucked into some depressive loop, okay? I'm here. We're going to find her. I mean it. I don't.
All right, I'm sorry. It was just the camera footage is.
The police will recover it.
The
You're
hard
right.
drive is still there, it's fine.
7.
Yeah, I know.
7.
Somewhat satisfied, I patted her shoulder and stepped back into the middle of the hallway. Close by, Isla, who had just finished her talk with her mother, was walking to the event room. We were supposed to investigate the building, but we had all silently agreed to wait a bit out of either anxiety or hesitation.
Where are you going?
I want to see it again. Oh god, the stone is not going to be there when we go.
Yeah, he's not. The egg is gonna be gone. Without further explanation, she quickly made her way into the room.
She's gonna die.
Nah, no way, no shot. Erina followed behind her. The rest of us did so. Did the same since. Erina followed behind her. The rest of us did the same since staying by ourselves didn't seem very useful. The previous 2 weeks had been difficult for Shirai and me. I knew the cheerful Shirai I was fond of would take a longer time to come back, but all things considered, both of us were handling the situation pretty well. I was just concerned about pushing her too far. Wait, so pause for a second. I have a theory.
Mm-hmm.
It was like since the start of the game, Shiraya has been very concerned. Like anxious, I suppose. Anxious is a better word. Since the start of the game, Shiraya has been very anxious.
Mm-hmm.
And since the start of the game, we've been comforting her, I guess. I guess this is gonna be sounding a bit strange, but what if since we know that something happened in the past between Shiroya and the main character, but we don't know what. That hasn't been told to us yet. And that whatever that thing is affecting them currently. We still don't know the reason why they're in this building too, by the way. We don't even know why they came to the exhibition. So
Yeah.
I was thinking, what if the main character and Shiraya are a part of Zen?
That
What if
could be
they're
a good plot twist, actually. It
To
could be
be
that they came here to like steal it themselves, but got stolen before they could steal it.
to give a bit of credibility, at the start of the game, the main character was like, "I can't believe the past. I don't know, something days happened. Like I can't
Yeah.
believe we're here."
there is a past connection with something happened in the past, but we don't know. We need to know.
Exactly. I think this is your turn in
This
interaction.
is Edge.
Yes.
Edge.
Ayla was in front of the cabinet. I entered the room just as she was about to uncover the curtain, and Akara and Sai came silently after me.
Look at how pretty it is. It's still there. Now that the light's gotten a bit better, I like it even more.
I agree. It's got a very elegant look.
Akara and Sai walked in further. However, once Akara stopped, Sai did not. He placed himself in front of the cabinet and stared at the Sekimeiya in the same way everybody else just stared at him while he thought to himself.
See now why the name of the game is constantly changing.
And honestly, we should all agree that it's called the Suck My Nuts.
Yeah.
Sekimeiya.
Suck my nuts
Testicular
out.
torsion stone.
Then, with the same neutral expression, he scrolled the glass down.
What are you doing?
Your mom.
Instead of responding, he just said, "Your mom."
Oh god,
you
if you touch it and it's like, oh, this is fake. Look.
He
Shiraya
reached.
owned.
Okay. He reached to touch his Sekimeiya. Or that's what I first thought. Instead, he grabbed it and took it out of the cabinet.
Illegal kate arrest. Kate arrest.
Hey, what's up with you? Didn't Kate set out to take it out?
This character, we don't know what his deal is, by the way. He was
He-
what
We have our
yeah.
theories.
He's literally just he's literally just
Nagito, yeah.
mean for the sake of being
Yeah.
not no Akaro.
Oh.
Car guy on the left.
Oh, I
with
thought
the
you guys
red-
meant Sai.
He,
Red
he,
t-shirt.
he's literally just mean because he wants to be, and I find that pretty base.
Yeah, he curses in front of a kid like multiple times.
Pretty funny.
Yeah, and her mother doesn't respond as a mage.
Pretty funny.
Okay, yeah, sure.
I guess he did. However, right now, he's in the security room doing God knows what.
What are you trying to do? I like sending her arm a little charming.
Can I have it? Yeah, of course.
Oh my
sure.
god! Oh my god! You
He's
didn't
so
say
bad.
the
He
line.
didn't even say it. He's so bad.
Say what?
Okay,
Can I have
I'm gonna read it again. Alex extended her arm and let out a charming.
Can I have it?
There.
It took him 5 seconds.
I
Yeah,
already
he had to
said
think
it.
about
I'm
it.
gonna bring up the fucking recording for you guys after this because I
Yeah,
clearly
you did.
said it.
You didn't say it.
You
Okay, I'm
didn't
gonna
say.
bring up the recording. That's fine. Yeah, of course. Here.
I looked at the camera in the upper right corner and saw the flickering green light. After handing Ashia's precious gem to the 9-year-old, Side answered Akara.
I was just considering that what Kate said earlier might have been false, just in case he's not been the most sincere person.
Whoa.
This
Oh,
is
yeah.
Edge.
What part of it?
I'm talking about when he said the Sekimeiya has to be kept in a cold place. I'm just opening the possibility of him having said it to scare us from taking it out. He's
why
gonna
would he
s-
lie? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, oh, it's gonna hatch. That's it.
Why would he lie like that? Really, why else would the cabinet have this cold function other than because it's beneficial for the Sekimeiya?
Why would he lie? I just said it so that we keep it in a cabinet. The cold function could very well be beneficial, but he made it sound essential. And look. Hey, who's this? Me?
Yes.
You.
Sai pointed at Isla, who looked to be enjoying her time despite the serious situation. She was clearly delighted at being able to hold the Sekimeiya, something she would have never been able to do under normal circumstances. Right now, the Sekimeiya looks perfectly fine to me. Yet, it's not inside a cabinet that provides it a very low temperature. Strange, isn't it?
Strange, isn't it? You don't know how the temperature might damage it. It could slowly crack it, which would be very bad. The strongest point is how smooth it is, right, Isla?
Isla nodded strongly. She definitely agreed, as she wouldn't stop fiddling with it. You're right, I was just testing what would happen.
What if the Sekimeiya had melted after getting it out? Do you know the consequences that would follow?
Then Kate would have been just telling us the truth. Right now, the Sekimeiya looks perfectly normal to me. And it's not like Kate told us what exactly a higher temperature would do. He just said he was just told a low one was needed. Don't worry though, if it had been melted, we would have all just said he'd forgotten to warn us when they would have busted his ass.
I don't think that's something Kate made up. Naomi also made something similar.
Oh!
Oh god, he's here!
Uh-oh.
Oh, sussy!
Whose
Zenji.
This is
turn is
Edge.
this?
This is Edge. This is Edge.
Me? I thought that
No,
was you.
I think it's you, yeah.
Last time was me. It's just they didn't have any narration.
Okay.
Okay.
I-
As if he had been summoned, Kate appeared behind the door. Isla, plenty aware of impending trouble, instinctively hid this Sekimiya behind her back, but she wasn't fast enough.
What are you guys doing? Why is the Sekimi out of the cabinet?
Rather, what were you doing in the security room? Did you find a way to restore the security system or contact the outside again?
No, nothing worked. I did handle some effects of the alarm though. The elevator is not functioning and proper illumination has been restored.
Sounds great.
What do you mean it sounds great? Why did you get the Sekimi? I told you how important it is how told you how important it is not to move it from the cabinet.
Kate, who looked and was probably rightfully angry, walked forward and forcibly took the Sakamiya out of Isla's hands. She gave him a blank, depressing look in response.
Important why? What's higher temperature gonna do? It looks perfectly fine to me. Don't tell me. It's the real edge, right? It must be kept cold. No, it doesn't. Edge! No! He knows!
He knows.
He is crazy! The
they
Giga
made
Chad.
it, they made it an egg on purpose.
They knew we would theorize that. Holy shit!
Oh god. Listen, kid. I know you might find this a boring situation you're entertained. However, you should understand how serious this is. Stephen Carter had clearly assumed that it had been Sai's idea. I don't know what the effects will be. I don't know if they will happen immediately, but I know one thing. I know that my superiors told me that no matter the circumstances, the Sekimiya could never be taken out of the cabinet, and that while they were saying it, their eyes were as serious as they could have been. The cameras here are disabled, so I'm sure you think you can do as you please without facing consequences. For your own good, or for our entire good rather, do not think of doing this again.
Sanity.
Kate, actually, I think that was who was this?
It's
No, no, this is seven,
seven.
because I read.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kate placed the Sekimeiya back in the cabinet, shut the glass in the curtain, and looked into Sai's eyes as he finished. Sai kept staring back, giving him a Sigma stare, unfazed, but his expression had slightly changed. You're a beta male, Kate. If I had to guess what he was thinking, it was probably something along the lines of, "You're one hell of an actor," or something. However, to me, it didn't look like Kate was lying. If I didn't rule it out, but I could believe he was very worried to the orders he'd been giving wouldn't be followed, foreseeing the punishment he'd be dealt by the Ashia family. Yeah, sure.
I don't know why you don't seem able to believe me. I can't tell you everything, but if it's going to make you feel better, I can tell you all I know about the Sekiyama. Maybe I can hear your choice like that.
He didn't only look at Sai, but also the rest of us. Suddenly, he seemed very serious about proving his sincerity. Perhaps he felt that everybody had been suspecting him in some way.
Again, I know about this very briefly and only to have the needed context as far as security staff. I can't elaborate much on it, but given all that Suripo said, it's probably fine if I tell you the basics outline I know.
Instead of saying anything, everybody stayed silent, intrigued by whatever Kate could have to say.
As you already know, the Sekimon was no more than a bait for Zin. After the last time the towers attacked, on the 24th of November, Ashia began to look for something they could use. Yushibana is now full of people who dedicate their lives to gemstone location extraction. Excuse me. The number of them vanishing when the tower's opening informed people of the valuable gems in the nearby mountains. For many people, going and finding these all around the mountains became a successful gamble. The Sekiyama was found by a single person who did just that on the 27th of November.
March 27th.
Another common practice upon finding a rare or valuable gem is forming the Asha family with hopes that they will be interested in it. For this reason, we were the first ones to be informed of the Sekiyama. It worked perfectly for Ashia, as it was described as very unique. Regardless of its actual value, it did look special, so that was enough to work as the bait they needed. After paying the original finder for the Sekiyama and their silence, they purposely cheated with the Sekiyama's value as hard as they could. The first mention of the Sekiyama by that name was made on the 29th, as you probably know. Of something incredibly rare and be shown today on the 15th of December. Every night until today, we have been expecting Zhang's attack. Everyone was led to think Ashia had the rarest find in a while, so, as we posted earlier, regardless of its actual initial worth, after all the publicity, the Sekimon was incredibly valuable for Zhang. We sold many tickets for today's event. You all saw how far the line of people extended in the lobby. Upon realizing we could pass up on the bait, Asha still went with the second option, which was following with what they said and letting the Sekima they passed non-stop be seen. Naomi was instructed into spitting out a bunch of made-up facts about it, and instead of work during her guided visit to try to justify all the build-up. To add interaction and lengthen the visit time, the visitors were going to touch the surface, but only inside the cabinet. To tell you guys the truth, Zin did actually attempt to steal a Sekima once. Chiba had no reason to inform me all of this, but almost as soon as its existence was announced, Zin made a move for it. As you can see, okay, this would be 7.
Average Kate lordom, to be honest.
So true.
So true. As you can
Confusion.
see, their plan ended in a failure. We even came close to catching someone from Zin for the first time, but they were able
Go
You are
on.
you are the dumbest person on this planet. I am leaving.
It's fine, it was only for a second. Come on, don't worry.
We even came close to catching someone from Zin for the first time, but they were able to escape. That was almost Ashia's success, but this information was never published even though it would have been seen as Zin's first failure. The reason was that they wanted to keep up the charade and put the plan in motion to catch Zin for real. The Sekimeiya wasn't in this building yet, so the mechanism we had designed wasn't activated. Additionally, even though Zin were the ones to try to steal it, Ashia had no way to prove it. Since the circumstances were unusual, everyone knew they wanted to defeat
Wait,
it. People could have
what
thought they.
what day is it currently in game?
Oh,
Can we
let's
check?
see. I think we might be able to. Let's see. I'm gonna type day, and we'll like just. Do you think how far does this go? You know what? I'm gonna say. I'm gonna type each days of the week individually.
As big as your mom.
I meant like date, not really day type. Because here's what I'm saying, right? The main characters are, from what we know, affected by an event that happened in the past. And just a second ago, Atsuki said something about it happening 2 weeks ago, right? We were just told that Zin attempted a move on the Sekimeiya
Sekimeiya.
when it was first announced in December.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So if it is currently 2 weeks after December 15th, that would align with the time frame. And it would also explain why the main characters are stressed about coming back to a place that they've tried to steal something from.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm doing this again, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
That would make a lot of sense.
Bro, this is literally just Romania lore.
Alright, let's go.
Hey,
Continue.
go ahead.
I didn't finish
He
reading.
didn't even finish it.
You didn't even
Oh
finish it?
my
No,
god,
my
he's
bad.
so
I'm sorry.
bad.
You're so bad.
Oh,
Jump-
Even if it's
What the heck? No way! That's crazy. Could jump back and forth?
Yeah.
yes.
yeah, you can do that.
Since the circumstances were unusual and everyone knew they wanted to defeat Zim, people could have thought they made it up since no members had been caught. That's all I can say about this. Now, the cold temperature was not something Ashia realized, but something the original finder instructed. They said that according to the time they'd spent with it indoors to preserve and make sure the signal wasn't damaged, it had to always be kept in a cold temperature. The fact that he knew that putting it under high temperature could damage it implies it did so at one point and noticed the damaging effects. However, as you said, Sai, after you all took it out for a bit, it still seemed to be fine. It probably did the same and found out that leaving it for longer could be harmful. Asha did not particularly care, so they naturally accepted it and following that single rule without much of concern. This cabinet, alongside others that also possessed temperature functions, already existed, so it was a convenient place to keep it after stylizing it a little. Oh my god!
Average Kate Lord, man.
Okay, near me there would be Edge right now. Okay. Since it was found pretty high up on the mountains behind the tower, the temperature there was already very low. At their request, the location where it was found was revealed to Ashio. A vast mountain range surrounds Yushibana, which I'm sure you see daily. On Iron? Okay. A mountain close to this building, there's a little upward path that was much more visible a few years ago. That part of the range has almost been abandoned because when the reason to go to the mountain switched to the gemstone extraction was a term that not many were to be found on
I'm
Iron.
gonna be honest, Umineko's easier to read than this shit. I
I
can
mean,
actually,
I'm gonna be honest.
concentrate in that game.
I'm gonna be honest, this is the most boring shit I've ever played.
Yeah, it is
I
Kate
mean,
lore dump gaming right now.
Average Kate Lord up. He's done this like
visual,
8 times already.
visual novel
This
Lord.
is seriously unappealing, but let's just go.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to like keep going for now. Let's see how it goes.
What do you mean it's boring? It's world building.
Trust me.
Also,
Just looking
trust
for an
me
idea.
that I might leave. Trust me that I might leave in a bit. So let's just continue.
Okay.
That's
Eventually, up the mountains is a small field that's pretty well hidden. It's not easy to spot, and you have to deviate onto a smaller path. All I was told was that it's a fairly hidden place. There, this was found.
Kate pointed at the cabinet.
No, it would be me, technically.
That was all interesting and consistent with what we need to. But my mind had gone completely, had gone someplace else.
He's Giga Chad ignored?
actual Giga Chad.
Yeah, but no. As I expected when I looked at Shiroya, she was already looking at me, and it seemed she thought the same thing.
Oh my god. Bizarre it sounded, the location Kate had just described matched perfectly with the place where we used to play as kids. Past
No
that
way,
grassy
Jojo. Bizarre adventure.
Kill yourself. Past that grassy terrain, there used to be a cabin she and I would frequently visit. It was the same mountain, the same narrow path, and maybe the same plain and grassy field that would be now covered by snow. It seemed pointless to think much of it. We had been there for more than a decade. Back in the day, it was the perfect hidden place for us to go spend our time.
Zen, boot up mob level alternative.
What?
Boot up mob level alternative.
I see.
Now, had we seen anyone else there, but eventually going to the mountains was just a play was seen as rude by the people who tried to make it a daily living on them.
Man.
Admittedly, we also didn't want to have anything to do with the strangers on the mountain, which decreased the frequency of our visit until we finally stopped going altogether. The final visit was something we hadn't even realized was final. Oh my god, Seven, breathe, I need water.
Man, Kate has like the most dialogue in the entire game.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Do you remember?
The 21st of September.
No. I'm not sure the place is the same, but thinking back on those times makes me happy.
You're right. We used to have a lot of fun there.
Bye. Whose
This is
turn?
some-
This is me. Reminiscing
Seven.
evoked a very strange feeling within me. When the weather was ideal, we would spend entire afternoons in an unreachable hidden place, playing all sorts of different games. We brought things from home every day and we went to make it ours. Okay, Fury, I think the Sekimeiya is Shiroya's pet bird that never hatched.
What?
Even
Very
though if you were to look at the Shiroya, you might not have believed it. Her usual self was a very chill for one. So remembering one of those early memories was bittersweet.
On the other hand, after I looked at her, she was smiling and wore an expression that had lately disappeared from her face. The memories we shared from that time were very special. No matter what I tried to say, I hadn't been able to cheer her up. That might have been the first time in 2 weeks that she'd reacted positively to anything, and I probably knew why. Those memories were so old that Nia had not yet appeared in our lives. That's why Shiroya was able to think about them without sparking the negative reactions that obfuscated everything else.
Bro, she has stopped reading The Greatest Journey for 2 weeks. That's why.
Yeah.
Bro, I can't believe they added Mia Fate to the game. Maybe we should.
True.
But unfortunately, Mia has been bonked by a red white. Anyhow, let's continue. Maybe we should go back one day and see what it looks like now.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yawn.
Even though her smile had slightly faded, she seemed to genuinely mean that. It was reassuring to hear, and it made me trust that everything would eventually get better.
It didn't.
True.
It did it because we never finished the game.
Pate had kept talking while I'd been digging up old memories, but he'd only gone over his previous points.
Oh my god.
Yeah, bro's still talking in
In the background. Bro,
bro.
shut the fuck up.
Bro has PTSD with that mountain. What the hell?
Bro thinks he's Eminem rap god.
Kate, I swear to God.
I fucking hate this dude.
This is all
Bro,
I
this
know.
man. This man is Dainsliff with all the lore dumps, but is not as interesting. What the hell?
Because he's not hot
Bro.
like Dainslift, that's why.
Excuse me, I am very hot. Thank you very much.
I mean, we did say that he had cake, so
I guess.
That's great.
I completely forgot
Okay,
about
okay.
that conversation.
Okay. This is all I know. It's not much, but hopefully you
It's
can
not
at least
much.
believe me.
come on.
It's not much.
It's not much.
Do you really
It's
believe
not
that?
much.
Okay, I'll believe it. Sure.
I don't believe it.
You sure are good at coming up with stories to cover your ass. It's honestly impressive.
Wow.
Wow,
Who is this?
this
Uh,
is Edge, I think.
yeah, me. Sai said that, but it didn't look like he disbelieved Kate's explanation. He was most likely referring to everything else he had said previously, with the sole intention to provoke him.
If that didn't please you, there's not much else I can say. There's probably more than I'm allowed to, actually.
Really?
Ah, I see.
Really?
I don't think you should be allowed to say anything.
Yes.
Imagine if he
Please
actually
no.
was allowed to say everything that he wanted.
Oh god.
We're gonna be
the
here.
entire
We're gonna be-
year would be like doubled
Oh
in
my God.
size.
Yes.
Even though I could have seen Sai's playful behaviors intriguing earlier, it had become off-putting. After shrinking my thoughts to some of my childhood memories, the thought of getting out of this terror was much more appealing. Finding out what was responsible for the attack was a goal, but as long as the police had some way to recover the camera footage, they could handle that. They could have already captured the person responsible for all we knew. Ashia's compensation was certainly a nice thought to keep in mind, too. It was more important to keep an eye out for anyone doing anything suspicious, and only once we got out that constantly and basically accuse anyone in the vicinity like Sai seemed to want to.
Thoughts.
Anyway, weren't you all supposed to be investigating the building? I think aside for that, we keep repeating this, but Naomi's disappearance gets weirder by the second.
Yeah, we should go.
I agree. It's been like 5 hours since the VM started. Please look for the woman who might be fucking dying in a ditch right now. Thank you. Anyway, I agree. Let's look through this floor first. It's where she was when the smoke first appeared, and it has plenty of disabled cameras.
Who is this?
Me.
Me?
Me.
Okay.
We made our way to hallway A. Finally starting to inspect the huge building was an imposing task. A lot of time had already passed. Yeah. So I had no idea what to think of Nami's disappearance. She was either incapable of reaching us or didn't want to.
How do we do it? Do we split up?
No, let's make the situation clear first. Funny things can happen later. Let's enter every room in the hallway and then move on to the other one. After we're done with this floor, we'll move up one at a time.
Yeah, let's begin here. Fuck.
Irina
Yeah.
looked at the crystal room in front of the security room. It was the one labeled A1 in the map. This one.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, okay. Video game. Okay, video game.
Given the floor, yeah. Given the floor's layout, if there was someone who wanted to avoid being seen, as long as we didn't split up, they could easily achieve that. There were 3 different ways to make it from one hallway to the other, so we would never be able to rule out a sneaky moving culprit. Taking that same possibility in mind, though, the thought of splitting up was distressing. It was better to investigate together and hope that wouldn't happen. This is a new page.
We were in front of the room we had started with. Mikade opened it, and yet again I felt the same recording sensation of stepping into a different world.
Different world?
The
Hey,
TV
Inferno Health.
That's-
Inferno Health, go.
Hold on, I am thinking. Because
Oh,
this guy keeps saying different world. It's making me think this is a time travel story or something.
Nah.
Out for a Out for yes, heaven, water, just please.
Shut up. Okay. A clean floor, walls, and ceiling awaited us. Just like in the room I looked at, there were many cabinets, presumably displaying different kinds of valuable gemstones.
Why are they covered?
As Isla said, the interior of the cabinets was invisible. Velvet curtains, as pretty as Sekimeiya's had once been, were neatly placed all over them. Oh, yes, this is something that we do every morning, except on Sundays when the tower's closed. Well,
Oh
at
no,
night,
no,
Oh
no,
no! Oh
no,
no!
Here comes
no!
No! No!
average Kate
No!
explanation.
Cut
I'm
off!
leaving if I'm leaving if that happens.
well, at
If you
night,
say one more line, I'm gonna leave.
Nah, you know it's coming.
Okay.
Well,
We're
at
good.
9 a.m., the floor opens to the public. It isn't until 9:10 that the showcase cabinets are uncovered. This is purely done for dramatic effect, and honestly, to give the visitors the impression that they're about to witness something very valuable.
Oh, can I?
Yeah, of course. Let me raise them up for you. In the same manner that Kachi might have seen it done daily through the cameras, he carefully rolled up every curtain, letting us see what they were hiding.
I know,
Tell
as
me.
amazed as the little girl trapped in the building could be, I lit up while Kate uncovered the next mysterious interior. Sai looked at it with a similar face, even though I couldn't help but question it. The cabinets in those rooms were different from the Sekimeiya's. They were lower to the ground, and on top of them was a screen of glass that sheltered the gemstones. All of these are the same, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow, look at this black one! Mom, isn't it pretty? I love it.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites so far. I wish I could wear it as a necklace.
Shiroya looking at your direction. We were all glad Rena was with us and treated Isla as if they were in a normal visit, letting her feel comfortable.
Shortly, Kate finished with every cabinet. They had all contained gemstones of different shapes and tones. Some had also had a brief explanation below them, detailing where they'd been found along with the name of their finder. Most of them assured they'd once been in the mountains I was used to seeing in the background of Yushibana. Despite the events and my lack of interests, I spent some time looking at each one, immersing myself in them without noticing it. I didn't think it was the best way to spend our time, but everybody else seemed to be doing the same. You like this one?
Yeah, maybe after this I might head off.
Sure.
Shirai was pointing at a tiny light blue jewel with round white stains on a smooth surface. She said it's because I'd been looking at it for a while, and she knew that shade of blue was my favorite color.
Specifically that shade, oh god.
Yeah.
I really do. I wouldn't mind going to the mountain some days if I can manage to find one like this.
I'm sure it wouldn't be easy, but it'd be worth the effort.
Now, after having talked about going back to our personal playground, I started to really look forward to the time where we'd visit again. Spending a day trying to find a gem as pretty as that one.
Can
Alright
I
then.
see it again, Tanya?
Anya? You talking to me? Literally.
Yes, yes, can I see a pendant?
That's not me.
Too confused, Shiroyu took it out.
I knew it. It's even prettier than everything in here.
What's with that name though?
Tanya, that's for you. It's for Tanzanite.
Oh, I see.
Alright, I might head up.
I'm a bit fascinated by these myself.
No, he won't.
There he goes.
There he goes.
7.
Skill issue. What happened?
Now you're taking over his place.
You're the narrator now.
I am.
So
me-
go ahead and read.
I'm going to read it. Just give me a moment.
He's so bad.
You're so
That's
bad.
I'm gonna leave.
No. Sai's voice sounded from behind us as he peeked over my shoulder. I came here of my own volition after all. We shouldn't spend so much time doing this in the next rooms though. We have other priorities.
Yes, sorry, Ala, but once we're done here, we'll have more than enough time to revisit every room.
You'll still let me see them though, right?
Yeah, we'll briefly look over them.
We moved on to the next room, which looked almost identical. Talk about saving resources. The same procedure was repeated. Kate uncovered every cabinet, and Ayla had a few seconds to appreciate all their contents.
After we finished with it, Akaro spoke. Do we really have to look at the inside of every cabinet? It's only slowing us down.
Yes, and it doesn't take up a lot of time. And remember what Suripo said. He mentioned some gems on the floor had been stolen. We need to find that room and see if there's something to notice.
Oh, yes, that's true. I did say it had happened in one of the farthest rooms.
You're right, I'd forgotten about that, but it still sounds very weird to me. What do these gems have to do with anything? It sounded like Ashia have already assumed they were the goal of the attack, which feels very off considering that they don't even know how they were brought out.
This will be the last message yet.
You mean to say they were probably something to divert their attention, right? One moment.
Take your time.
No, don't.
Don't take your time. Go as fast as you
Don't.
can.
Yes, like Sonic. I agree. If the plan is over in failure, it could be that some kind of trick was used to get them outside, make them believe they were the goal, and with the lower guard, see the actual target, the Sekirema.
Yeah, something like that, even though I can't really visualize how the plan would work. Before you assume that, there is something to think about which goes against it.
What would that be?
Well, there are two vertical hallways, and the event room were put out of commission with the smoke. If the gems were the goal, it could be assumed that the event room was, for some reason, only attacked because it's the only way to go from the middle of the hallway to the other. However,
I must say, when Kate isn't speaking, the game is kind of fun.
so true. However, that has a flaw. Even though a function of the smoke was certainly to disable the security cameras, the room of those gems were stolen from wasn't ever subjected to the smoke, according to what Kate told us. This is very strange, don't you think? It outright implies that the room's security camera was never a factor they took into consideration. So, if that were the case, why did they disable all the others? What I mean to say is that the robbery of those gems could have been executed without the need of releasing the smoke in the event room, and that the substance to cover the lens of the security cameras wouldn't be needed. If being spotted by the security cameras in the room of the robbery wasn't an issue, it means the only other goal of the smoke was to provide a clear route to the outside. The event room and the opposite hallway wouldn't have been needed. And disabling cameras would have definitely been pointless. This immediately indicates that the gems were never the goal, which breaks the effect. Maybe you're right. If they were the goal, only one hallway and the area would have been attacked. And if you can't assume the smoke was released to make everyone nearby fall unconscious because not all the rooms where people could have been were attacked.
And yet, they were brought outside in a suitcase before the exit closed.
Yeah, only for the person to be then arrested immediately. I can't figure out what the whole deal is here. More so given the Sekimeiya is still with us. The people outside think the gems were not the goal and the robbery was a failure. Were the goal and the robbery was a failure. However, part of that relies on them not knowing the exact rooms that were attacked by the smoke. I'm sure more people will conclude what I'm saying once they enter the tower. If the culprit intended to pass those gems as a fake goal, this plan is lacking. There is no way it ends with someone sinking the Sekimeiya out as soon as the exit opens, right? That would be very stupid. Not to mention that stealing the gems would be rendered useless since Ashia would quickly notice the Sekimeiya has been stolen too. Then the gems would ultimately return to Ashia, and the person who had them would be arrested.
This is U7.
No, I hadn't taken
No,
those
this.
gemstones into consideration for any of my thoughts, but he was right. Hey Kate, I know you said this earlier, but are you sure that the exit was sealed immediately after the alarm went off?
Well, it is the first time the alarm has been activated. It's how it was programmed to work. Anything else would be pointless, really.
Could it have been another malfunction? I was just thinking that perhaps Naomi brought the gems out.
No, no, it doesn't.
Not me, but that should be impossible, right?
Not if the malfunction already occurred. When Saripo mentioned that the person who brought them outside, he only said that it had only been an individual. It could have been a woman, but I think he would have said it when we mentioned Naomi was still with us. If the alarm's effects have been delayed, Saripo would have brought it up, or someone from the outside would have entered. It is true, though, that Naomi, the person who should be here but isn't, and knows the layout of the tower well, is a good candidate to have brought the gems out. Acting out this ridiculous role of being purposely arrested for the conspicuous suitcase. My bad. I clicked the right click. Instead of the
You
left
are
click.
so bad.
If this is what happened, targeting the event room too would make sense, even if the goal was elsewhere. If it was Naomi's location, then she would have needed a way to escape. Goddammit, I hate this game.
Oh my
You're right.
God.
You're right, I hadn't thought of this, but I'm not convinced. Targeting both hallways still wouldn't make much sense, and most importantly, it implies her plan only worked because the alarms effect got delayed. It would have been no malfunction. Yeah. Also, we don't know what actually triggered the alarm, and while I could be wrong, it really seemed to me like Naomi did fall unconscious in our room. Remember what Saripo said? If anyone was in front of the shutter as it closed, it would have stopped. It's possible it was delayed, which gave Naomi enough time to leave, even though she was in the event room when the alarm played.
Sai is coming up with all the theories that we were coming up with.
Or I think Sai's using.
He's literally me.
He is literally me. He is also literally me. He's us. This could be us. This
But
could
is
be
he
us.
among us?
He is. He literally is both in the
He's not
game
among
and
us. He is us.
yeah.
This could be us, and it is
This is
us.
so deep. This is so deep. That's true, but Reaper would have told us as well.
Wait, no, I don't think that could have happened. Why not? When I heard the alarm, there was another sound too, much fainter. I just realized that must have been the shutter closing, as it was rough and came from this lobby. That means that the effect couldn't have been delayed, and it ended up with a louder sound, which must have been hitting the floor like ding 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 ding. You know what I mean? That's what he's referring to.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you, Seven.
I'm sorry. I'm pretty sure
No,
it went
no.
all the way without stopping. If that's true, it confirms Naomi's still here. Yeah. Is this a key?
Who's this?
Is this a key?
Is this a key? I think
Bro
this
does not
is
know.
you then.
Bro does not know what a key.
Okay. I saw
You the-
Shiroya staring at the floor, confused as to where the director gazed. Oh, you're right. What's this doing here?
It's the security room key. No, it's not.
When you went quiet, the two people who hadn't participated in the conversation spoke. They were a bit ahead of us, so we walked to them. After focusing on the point where they were staring, we saw what Isla had found. Next to the right wall was a small rusty key. Isla, that's not me.
That's not you. Inferno,
I'm
crack your
gonna
skull,
kneel.
please.
I know. I will kneel to pick her up. Once in her hand, she showed it to us.
Was this on the floor? Yes, I just saw it. There is no way we missed it until now, right?
The color is close to the floors and the lighting is bad. I'd say we did, since it took me a few seconds to see it.
Really? It was right next to the event room. More importantly, what's it for? Do you recognize it, Kate?
No, I don't think I've seen this key before. Patrick grabbed it to give it a closer look. It appeared very old and rusty. Not the kind of key that would be used in a modern building.
Not
It's impossible. I know it's an old building. There are keys I don't possess, but it must be for something else. Keys are not prohibited items in this tower. It's possible someone dropped it and didn't realize it.
How would you not notice it here? If you drop it, the noise will alert you.
For sure. Which means that whoever dropped it knew they did and then didn't pick it back up. It would have been a bit ridiculous to think that it had been left purposefully to indirectly pass it on to someone or something of the sort. Given what we knew and what happened so far, Side's words made a lot of sense. You get what I mean, right? This key probably belonged to the culprit. As they were running against a timer that would trap them, this key was dropped. Naturally, they didn't waste time stopping to retrieve it. It could be a pretty important key if it's the one the culprit was holding when they were committing a crime. Oh! Oh! Do we trust him? The rats.
That's the question, right?
Do we trust him with the key?
Hello?
I'm back.
Oh, welcome
No,
back.
sorry. I need to open my door. My dog wanted to come into my room.
That's a skill issue.
Kill yourself.
True.
I'll keep it safe and give it to the police as soon as I can.
That's a good idea.
Man, Shiroya has like the shortest sentences
Yeah,
ever.
it's like, hmm?
Bro
Oh,
does
yeah.
not speak. She's my favorite character, by the way. No particular reason.
Blue hair and pronouns.
Pronouns.
Of course.
Literally a final protagonist. You might be jumping to conclusions again, though.
Everyone
Yeah.
literally only speaks when Isla speaks, and Shiraya sometimes says one-liners sometimes.
Isn't she eating good?
Zenji eating good.
Yeah.
It could belong to an innocent person who rushed to escape from the tower.
You think so? I'm not sure that's possible. I've gone over this. Why would an innocent person ever rush to escape? One reason would be if they saw smoke appearing out of nowhere. However, they would have fallen unconscious if they ran through this hallway. The other reason would be if they had heard an unknown alarm. But this could also be ruled out because the alarm blocked off the exit. Naturally, this key doesn't belong to any of us, right?
Nobody asked me.
Nobody
He was saying that no innocent person was aware. No innocent.
is.
Nobody answered.
I was yawning. He was
Oh.
saying that no innocent person aware of danger could have escaped through the hallway.
We bully people who are sleeping.
So true.
If the key didn't belong to the culprit, it had to belong to someone who had also gotten trapped and we hadn't seen. Even Naomi didn't make sense as a candidate. I'd been with her up until the alarm had sounded.
My dog is being so cute. Oh my god.
Oh yeah, could it be the key to the cabinet that holds the Sekimeiya?
I would not.
No, didn't they say that doesn't belong here? The key doesn't belong here?
Well,
Like,
yeah,
like
but
I would assume if they had a key to the Sekimeiya, it would be something more modern.
no, there is a key to the Sekimeiya.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that if it would be more modern looking. Or, well, he would at least recognize it.
I mean, maybe, but I don't know.
Well, to be fair, Kate is also being accused of being sus. So
Yeah, we'll see.
Mhm.
If someone else, uh, if someone else had fallen unconscious here, they could have dropped the key and failed to realize it upon waking up. Perhaps even the sound of the drop had been why am I getting this word twice in a row? Obfuscated by the alarm. Of course, though, that was
obfuscated.
obfuscated. Of course, though, that was very unlikely.
I doubt this was here even before the attack. There was a janitor cleaning the floor in the lobby, so I'm sure these hallways were cleaned today too. Honestly,
On the surface, shut the fuck up. On the
Alzheimer's.
nice
surface, that
argument.
appears
Very
Alzheimer's.
solid argument. Nice argument. Unfortunately.
Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's.
No, you're supposed to bring the rest. Come on.
Unfortunately, Alzheimer's.
This is so sad.
Oh my god. On the surface, that appeared to be a very solid argument, but there was a way around it and involved something I thought before. We didn't know for a fact that smoke in hallway A, had been released at the same time as in the other two places. There was no reason to believe it had been, but it would have also led one of Kachi's claims to be true. One part of me wanted to directly ask Kati, but I held off. If someone had heard yells coming from the lobby or seen smoke coming through the door of the event room, they might have rushed out without stopping to retrieve their key. I recall that while we've been around to fall unconscious, I heard nothing but silence. I thought Adlan further next door, even though it had been her discovery, she didn't seem very interested. The private elevation of the cabin's concept would probably be very exciting for her instead. Let's continue for now. If this was important for the culprits, likely they'll try to get it back, so I'll make sure to keep them safe until we get out.
We
Going
accepted
to-
that and moved on. The next room was no different from the previous. Kate went ahead and began to make sure nothing had been stolen from his cabinets. Sai approached me while I was separated from the others. Anticipating his reason, I was first to speak. Do you still doubt Kate? I think he did a good job of proving his sincerity. Oh, of course I still do. I'll agree that he's pretty good at lying. You already realized he was never in the security room, right? Right. Why are you defending him? I looked at Kate. He was putting up with Isla and acting interested in gems he's presumably seen hundreds of times. Are you certain he wasn't? He couldn't have been in there. He couldn't have been in there after the alarm went off. I checked the time needed for the computer to suspend, and that confirmed it. And the only other possibility is that he was there and lied about using the computer, but that doesn't make it any better. Have you considered that the computer might not have been time accurate? Computer time? Yes, if it was wrong, Kate could have had the time to go there without lying. To then lie about how much time he spent outside it. Yeah, I know, maybe you're right and there's no other explanation. I have considered the computer's time being wrong, and not only that. For Zen?
Is it me?
It is you.
Sai raised his sleeve. Under it, there was a digital wristwatch.
I always wear this. It doesn't seem like there are wall clocks anywhere. So the time displayed on the computer is the only source we have available. Besides my wristwatch, that is. My time and the computer's are the same. I see, so that can't be it either. Well, as I said, I didn't consider that the computer time might have been wrong, but rather someone went way further than that. Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, that should be the only way Kate has. Yes, if someone messed with my wristwatch while I was unconscious, they could have made me back up the computer's time. That's going too far, though. After all, one would only do this to frame Kate into not having it in her room. But that's too ridiculous to consider it seriously. They'd need to know that Kate would say everything he said only to turn around and contradict it with the computer's suspended state, risking the possibility of nobody noticing it. And not only that, but it's also something that only works with the people who got trapped. This wouldn't mean anything if we brought it outside, so imagining that someone would set it up isn't reasonable. And Kate, who didn't fall unconscious, would have called that the wrong time. Since he didn't do it, if it was truly wrong, he must have been the one to modify it. Then, as an effect, his truthful claims would have sounded impossible. That's still ridiculous and doesn't clear his name at all. He also let us talk to Saripo, which could have mentioned the time at any moment. And why would
Average Sai
Kate lie
photo.
about having been in the security room? Do you think he's actually responsible? Or heavily involved in some way? There's no way he's not hiding anything or looking to gain something. So you don't believe his story about how the Sekimeiya was found. You were accusing him of lying about that too. Oh no, I believe everything he said there. He just strengthened his motive further. I still think the Sekimeiya has to be the very core of all this. That has to be right. Now, don't you find it strange that a simple security member would know all that? He said it in a desperate time because he wanted to learn our trust, which is why he relied on factual truth to lessen our suspicion. But I think what I think he did was changed on perspective. I'm telling you this in case you think I'm missing something, but I think all he did was join his version of what Sripo told us to form an accurate story and pass it off as something Ashia told him. I don't follow. I'm saying he could be the original finder of the Sekimeiya. He didn't know about what Sripo told us before he did, otherwise he would have said it all to earn our trust. Once he knew about Sripo's factual story, he joined his own knowledge with it to make us believe he truly works in the tower. That way, the way he detailed some things was very questionable. He knew the exact location where the Sekimeiya was found, and everything he told us was information about the original finder would have known after hearing Sripo's story. It might be true, but still sounds like a pretty big assumption. And didn't he say the finder was already paid? I'll tell you one of the theories I formed. It's all speculation, yes, but I think it could make sense given whoever's behind us already went pretty far with all the smoke. I haven't told you this, but it might not mean anything. You and I both showed up early, and were at the front of the line for a while, in front of this hallway B door. Yes, we didn't have the time to check. We didn't have a way to check the time, but we definitely were there for a few hours. Alright, so approximately at 8 o'clock, I saw Kate in the lobby. The reason why I started questioning him so quickly was because when I first saw him, he was wearing normal clothes. Of course, back then I didn't think of anything of it. I don't know what he did either. I just saw him for a few seconds, and if anything, I'm certain he was never part of the line. Considering everything, I think this is one of the ways everything could have played out. Take whatever you want from it. The person claiming to be called Kate found a Sekimeiya a couple weeks ago. They contacted the Ashia family, and given their interest, they bought Kate's discovery. At no point did Kate expect they'd set up so much advertisement for his own line. It's possible Ashia said things that were wrong only to draw people in, and perhaps not being credited as a finder bothered him. As a motive, I'll admit it's pretty plain, but at some point Kate could have realized the value of what he found and had been paid for has increased exponentially. That's why he designed a plan to retrieve something he thought he'd been cheated out of. The scale of the attack seems too big to move to have been designed by a normal person who found a rare gemstone in the mountain, but many things line up nicely. At 8 o'clock on the day the Sekimeiya was going to be shown to the public, he entered the tower. This is why it happened during daylight. Zin is, for once, not behind it. They had tried to steal the Sekimeiya once and failed. I don't know how his plan worked, so I can't tell if the alarm was an intended factor of it, but regardless of that, this person went to meet with the actual Kate Kuji. I don't know how, since the doors hadn't opened to the public yet, but he wasn't in the lobby shortly after I saw him. By speaking to Kate, he could have learned a lot about the alarm's existence and the method to contact the outside. The way he learned the information wasn't important. What matters is that he put on Kate's clothes, then he proceeded to hide Kate somewhere out of the camera's reach. He could have done this in any number of ways, but Kate was charged with keeping track of the security cameras, so obviously nobody could have seen him carrying off a body if that body was the one supposed to be seeing it. Along with the clothes, he also took the security room key. Then, he released the smoke in 2 hallways in the event room through some method I'm unaware of. It's likely he knew he'd get trapped in by doing so. He acted as if he'd found us and played the role of a security member to justify his presence in the tower. Naomi. It's possible he hit her body while she was unconscious. He'd be the one to have a reason, because Naomi would have revealed that he doesn't work in the tower. By saying everything was confidential, he managed to avoid explaining anything he didn't know. He lied about having been in the security room, since instead he'd been caring about this plan of his. That's why he knew things that only a person inside the room with all the monitors could have known without actually having been there. 3 posted it clearly. The security staff, upon hearing the alarm, would stay in the room and relay information through the installed microphone. But Kate told us that he left it because he didn't know that before talking to Repo. He said he used the microphone while we were unconscious, but I'm sure he was lying. I don't know why he let us talk to the outside, but it's possible he had something to gain from that. Maybe he wanted to everyone outside to think that Katekuji really is in the tower and that everything here is going well. One moment.
Average Psy exposition.
Holy shit! Talk about the Psy lore dump, bro.
Bro,
Bro,
Reed
Psy
literally
got-
just said, Kate, fuck you, I can do better. And he
Yeah.
just started lore dumping.
literally fight at the lore dump first.
Maybe he wanted to make sure that the bait gemstones worked and tricked Ashi. I don't know how all of this works yet. As I said earlier, the part of the plan seems to be very poorly constructed. It almost feels unrelated to what he did, but that can't be it. Anyway, it all comes down to he had no way to get the Sekimeiya out without spending 12 hours here, so he's intentionally spending 12 hours here. I don't know how this plan ends. I have no idea how he intends to get the Sekimeiya out once the exit opens, but consider the following. If he manages to do it, nobody will miss him. None of us will know who he actually was. I'm only speculating that he was the original finder of the Sekimeiya to give an easy answer to the questionable knowledge he's had since the start. Once he makes it out, only the Sekimeiya will be missing. Kate Kuji will still be there, and since he's aware the person talking to Ayla right now hit him, this ghost of a person will have escaped with the real target. After saying it all out, I know it sounds pretty absurd, but whatever this plan is, it has to be far from over. There are a lot of things that don't make sense, and somehow the Sekimeiya is still in its cabinet as if nothing happened. Also, one last thing. We only think that what we saw in the Sekimeiya because Akate told us so. The plan could easily be at a higher stage. The real Sekimeiya could have been replaced while we were asleep. That could be another reason why Naomi's presence had to be taken care of, as she would expose that illusion. I'm done. Thank you. What do you think? Do you agree with anything?
Yes.
I think he's right. I think he's been.
Those were some words, alright.
I hate this game.
Okay, who reads the next part?
I literally do not remember.
7.
Mhm.
Rock,
Do I
paper,
just read it?
scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
No,
No,
I'm reading it.
no.
Fuck you, Inferno Hellfire.
Okay, I'm reading it then.
Okay.
I was looking at the floor and had been listening to everything expressionlessly. Kate remained engaged with Isla while her mother looked on from behind. Akara shrugged while leaning against the wall, waiting to move on. Before I responded, well, we all walked to the next room, A4. I mean, they're really
I
using
waited
that
for Kate
budget
and
on
Ayla
the
to
art.
begin uncovering the
They-
cabinets before resuming the conversation with Sai.
They really are.
They could at least change the place of the cabinet.
Yeah.
I don't think I can directly object to anything you said. Admittedly, I did think Sai's theory was ridiculous, but it didn't have to be wrong. And I had to come up to a similar idea myself, but some of his assumptions were a bit out of reach. It was Sai's way to enjoy the incident though, and I care about it as well. There was no way it had been an accident. Many things indicated that nothing had happened coincidentally. Today, the smoke locations, the alarm, the recurring Zin events, Naomi. Before anything else, there are two options to choose from. The plan failed, probably because of the new alarm, or the plan hasn't ended yet. If whatever this plan is hasn't ended, it's almost certain that the culprit must be here with us. Who would that be, and what do they intend to do next?
There weren't that many possibilities. Everything has been pointing to Kate, and there's not just one way to construct it. If he's really a security member, he probably would have had an easy time setting this up. If he's not, then Sai's theory is valid too. He's definitely the most suspicious person here. Unless I choose to doubt Sai, it's almost a guarantee that Kate lied about having been in the security room during the attack. There could have been many reasons behind the lie, though. If Kate is actually innocent, a similar plan could have been worked around anyone who got trapped. Of course, I will rule myself and Shiroi out. We've come here innocently, and never expected anything like this to happen. Shiroi and I have spent our entire lives together, and I know she'd never think of doing such a thing. Not even with some crazy motive against the Ashia family she dislikes.
Bruh. Inferno?
I myself don't suffer from memory loss or split personalities, nor do I have a particular interest in ruining my life that will fail into robbery.
Then your theory is so Jover.
Maybe, yeah. I still trust Shiro though. I still like believe she's a bad guy.
It's so
Or
different.
related somehow.
Well, Kono was the last person in our group. Out of the seven, I feel he's the easiest person to suspect after Kate. He claimed not to care much about the day's event, but was here from the very beginning. Earlier, his behavior was fully up. It's gotten better since we woke up. It could be that he's letting the time pass so that his plan can conclude. Since he stands out from the rest of us, though, he's an easy target to blame for our plans and not have concocted. Cock? The same could be said for Erina Ayla, even though it sounds less likely. He's too naive to rule them out because of Ayla's age. As a well thought out plan could take advantage of that to lower our guard.
Out of the six of us that were waiting for the event, only they have their early arrival justified. Hyla's the only one who seemed to care about the event, but I can only truly rule out Shireo and myself. And Sai, I don't believe he's the culprit, but if he's even crazier than he seems, he could have designed the whole thing and then messed with me for for entertainment. Maybe even to divert my suspicion and prevent my interference. He could be trying to manipulate me into thinking whatever is convenient for him. I don't think that's likely though. Similarly, he might have determined that I'm not a likely suspect. There are two more options, Naomi and an unknown person. If Naomi wants to let the 12 hours run and execute the last part of her plan, then not showing herself to us is probably a good idea. She's been hidden from the very beginning and will spend the remaining time unspotted, able to move by herself whenever she needs to. There's gotta be a good hiding spot somewhere in this huge building. Using Naomi as a culprit puts some meaning behind the alarm's trigger. Shripo said that the only way to activate it was by breaking open the Sekimeiya cabinet, and when I heard the alarm, Naomi was the one next to it. If she silently broke it in a way that she knew would work, she could have covertly trapped us. Then, when we looked at the cabinet, we failed to recognize what had triggered the mechanism. Naomi must have avoided falling unconscious and made sure her trick wouldn't have been noticed. Why would she do this? Never mind.
Why would she do this?
What did she
Could it be
mean
that
by
she
this?
could it be that she made it seem as if something else triggered the alarm to make it look like everything was a malfunction?
What is this? Come on.
She could have had something to gain. The fact that the alarm went off right after Naomi unlocked the cabinet with the key also leads me to think that the source of the alarm had to be something else. However, this could have been done purposely to make the three of us eventually say that by the time the alarm had gone off, there'd be no reason to force the cabinet open. After all, there's no way Naomi could have known I'd stay conscious for enough time to hear the alarm. Then, it could have been ruled out as a malfunction, which would have allowed the other things to also appear as malfunctions. What if Naomi is innocent? Is there more than one option behind her disappearance? Unless she woke up ahead of time and saw the culprit, the only person that could have had a clear motive would have been Kate. She could still be trapped and walking around, but I'm not sure why she wouldn't have shown herself already if she had nothing to do with the attack.
Hmm.
Is it actually possible that Naomi is currently outside the tower? This would mean that the alarm had a delayed effect and that Naomi is not innocent at all. I'm pretty sure what I heard in the event room was the shutter, but I can't be totally certain. This is not me. This is Inferno.
Yeah, I was gonna let you read until you noticed.
Thank you.
Go on, Inferno.
The only way she could be outside is if Naomi's a culprit. Otherwise, surely Suripo would have said that she had made it out if we wouldn't brought up her name. The only way this would have happened is if Naomi was the individual with the Suki whose identity was kept a secret. The unknown person option was basically the same thing, but better. After all, with Naomi, we know the identity of the culprit by the end. However, if an unknown person had stayed with us and somehow plans to sneak out with the Sekimeiya when the time comes, we'll have no way to know who they were. The lobby doesn't have security cameras. When everyone evacuated, someone hid behind the reception desk or entered the staircase to the mechanical room. Once the smoke faded, they hid in the burial place, maybe after moving Naomi's body. maybe they were in one of the rooms anyway, but that's why they made sure we can look at this recorded footage.
I'm gonna tell you guys one thing, which I find really funny. So normally in fiction, time usually moves fast. So say a day is like 10 minutes, maybe a year is maybe like one episode, right? However, in this visual novel, 12 hours is 44 hours.
Yes.
So
I mean,
that's
that's
something.
literally what it seems to be like. So,
That's
Yeah.
that's what works in visual novels in general.
It's like fucking Dragon Ball. Planet Namek will explode in 5 minutes. And then it's like 20 episodes of fighting before the planet explodes. Anyway, go on.
I read my line.
Oh. Oh, for gore. Once this is all listed out, there were a few extra options. Like two people working together. For example, if Naomi and Kataya were working together, one would cover what doesn't make sense if the other person is working alone. The two staff members could have easily designed this internal attack thanks to the knowledge they possess. Kataya made us think Sekimeiya was the Sekimeiya we saw was the real deal. Now, Naomi can do as she pleases since she'll be constantly covered by Kate. We will guide all of us as the most knowledgeable person. Perhaps that's unlikely, since he had no problem staying behind in the security room while we went for the investigate. I am sure there are many theories I could construct, but it would all be pointless. Everything would still be guesswork.
surprisingly, the conclusion I drew that if the plan was still being carried out, Sai's theory was very close to what I believe to be likely. We had to know what triggered the alarm. It would clear up multiple doubts and remove possibilities, such as the culprit having already escaped.
Maybe what you said is the most likely possibility. A lot of things point to Kate being suspicious, and he knew about the alarm from the start. That can mean that he is the most likely person to be carrying out a plan that involves waiting for the alarm's timer. Yes, I agree. Either him or Naomi, but with the scenario I constructed, Naomi's already taken care of. Most things are actually. I don't know how the smoke was released, what triggered the alarm, and how the Kate plans to disappear with the Sekimeiya. It's also good to note that regardless of the method, a member of the security staff like him could have easily designed a way to release the smoke. It would be wise to keep track of him at all times. He stayed alone earlier, in the security room, all of us, of all places. I'm very curious to know how he intends to make this plan work. He'll probably make us make sure that we don't come across Naomi or the body of the real Kate, if I'm also right about that. You seem pretty excited. A bit, aren't you? Aren't you looking forward to knowing which theory ends up being the correct one? Or maybe you'll to find out that we were both incorrect? What if this is all bigger than we think, or just a coincidental accident? I want to make a lot of theories. And then have the best one turn out to be right. That would be great. For example, think about this. Everything we've thought about has been in part based on the call with Saripo. However, our main assumption right now is that Kate is the culprit. You brought up a good point earlier. Why did Kate say that we could communicate with the outside? You're right, if he's a security member while also being the culprit, if he hadn't mentioned it, he would have become incredibly suspicious after the 12 hours had passed. But if I'm right and if he doesn't work here, it wasn't very smart of him to have it brought up voluntarily. You're saying that what Saripo told us could have been planned? Exactly. He spoke very highly of Zen. What he was speaking very highly of himself? The group he works for, alongside Kate. He was dressed up as a policeman in the car next to the tower, ignored by everyone around it. If there weren't tricks in the video, that he must have been a real policeman. Wouldn't things make sense if Zin was involved with the police? That program, hidden deep within the computer's folders, could have been another factor of this plan designed by Zin. They knew Ashia were working on a mechanism to defeat them, so they designed this plan to keep their superiority afloat, assuming part of what he told us was the truth. As soon as he began to explain stuff, my suspicions about Kate immediately lessened. After all, what that policeman was saying matched up well with the information Kate had given us. Now, if they were working together, made-up details would appear like the absolute truth, and they'd make all of Kate's subsequent claims sound authentic. Saripos mainly spoke to Kate. If they were following a script, they could confuse us greatly. Saripos the only reliable source we think we have. And after he was done, The power conveniently went out. Not only that, but Kate was unable to contact them again. How believable is that, really? Did the Ashia family really revoke his authority, knowing they'd leave us uncommunicando for 12 hours? Wouldn't it be exciting if we were in the middle of such a plan? Would you stop in Zen if you saw through everything? I'm not excited about being caught up in this, I can say that much, but if I get a chance to take these guys down, I absolutely would. I won't let them get away with this shit. I see. Me, I'm just curious. I can't wait to know how this plan ends. Sadly, there's still a while until that, so maybe they need these 12 hours for something. Number of hours, something both Kate and Saripo said, so it will be strange if it turned out to be wrong. We'll have to see what happens. I suppose so, but if this is an ongoing plan, they won't make it obvious. If they're trying to trick the Ashia family, we might get tricked too. This is why I've been trying to think about it, to avoid being fooled.
Is it over?
I think it is. My throat hurts.
Yeah, you know how I feel.
Zen, I want Shiroya to speak for 5 pages at
We're
least.
good. We're good. The Giga Chat Shuya fan is not saying any lines.
Bro, I think she's Neapolitan. What the heck?
she's just like Sasano.
Oh, Sai-sama, your theories are so amazing, Sugoi.
Can
I
we stop
think-
here?
I think that's enough for today. What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I feel
Mhm,
physical pain after having played this
I
game.
want to go to bed.
Same.
Yeah, I want to go to bed too.
Man.
Now,
Mobile alternative
hopefully-
would have been better.
hopefully, tomorrow we don't start the shit at 12 p.m. 12 a.m. Sorry.
Yeah, when we were tired as shit.
Inferno, you start finding a way to be at home in the morning, in the afternoon.
I can't.
7, you stop. Why?
I have to go to driver school.
Okay. Zen, we have only been playing for 4 hours and 30 minutes almost. That is so low because it feels like it's been 7 hours.
It feels like a lot. It's so short. We did 3 sessions and each of them lasted basically 2
3
hours.
hours.
Well, yeah, it
Yeah.
felt like 4 hours instead of 2. That's the problem. It feels like it's been double the time the game tells us. It feels like it's been 8 hours. That's crazy.
Inferno, when does your school end?
It begins at like 3 p.m. and then it depends.
Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I mean, like, when does your
But
school end?
usually I get home at like 7 or 8 p.m. because I also have to go to the pool and get some exercise in.
The what?
The pool. You know, the what pool
Cock.
water. True.
That's the problem, see? You need to be home by like 5.
I can't.
He can't.
Just be.
I cannot.
He cannot.
Even if I didn't go to like get some exercise at the pool, I would still be home at like 6 or 7 p.m. just because I have no idea how.
Skill issue?
Shut up! I'm talking. It's not nice to interrupt.
I'm sorry.
Just because I don't know my schedule and like how long my sessions in driver school will last.
This is so sad. But I meant, when does your school end? Like, you don't have to go there anymore.
No, I don't know.
Hey, Zen.
Yes.
Buses don't need to speak.
This is crazy.
You're Denver now.
I'm sleepy.
Same.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to bed.
I'm also gonna go to bed.
Good night.
Good
Jing,
night.
Jing, jing. Good night, everyone. Goodbye,
Bye-bye.
Discord. Goodbye, chat.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.